My ambitious and responsible Capricorn friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. In Capricorn, there's a certain tightness in the air this week, a pause that feels both necessary and unsettling. You might sense yourself standing at the edge of something, not quite ready to leap but equally unwilling to step back. There's a quiet pressure beneath your daily rhythm, a question that hasn't quite formed into words yet. Maybe it's the sense that what used to feel solid is now shifting, or the awareness that your own expectations are becoming just a little heavier than usual. When you look at your calendar or think about the conversations you've been having lately, it's like you're waiting for a sign, or at least a moment of clarity. Beneath all the tasks and obligations, there's a longing to begin again, but you're cautious, maybe even holding your breath, unsure if you're ready for the changes you sense approaching. This isn't impatience exactly. It's more subtle, a restlessness that asks if you're really satisfied with the patterns you've been keeping. You might notice it most in the quieter moments, when your mind wanders and your heart tugs you gently toward something new, even if you're not sure what that is yet. The Page of Wands captures this restless, searching feeling in you now. There's a spark of curiosity woven through your thoughts, a willingness to consider new possibilities, even if you're not yet able to name them. You might find yourself drawn to ideas or dreams that feel a little risky, even if you're still weighing whether they fit into your carefully constructed world. There's an urge to explore, to reach beyond what's familiar, and at the same time, a cautiousness that comes from knowing how much you've invested in the life you've built. This week, your mind is lit up with small flashes of inspiration, a desire to speak up in a meeting, the temptation to share a hope you've kept quiet, the simple wish to try something different with your routine. These impulses aren't loud or demanding, but they are persistent, threading themselves into your daily moments. You might notice you're more easily distracted by thoughts of what could be, or that you're hungry for reassurance that your dreams aren't too far-fetched. Emotionally, you're holding both excitement and hesitation. There's a sense of youthfulness, not in age but in spirit. You want to feel alive, to be surprised by yourself, to trust in your own ability to improvise. Yet the part of you that values stability is wary. You might worry about disappointing someone, or about making a misstep that can't be easily corrected. Still, beneath these concerns, you're aware that you don't want to stay where you are forever. The Page of Wands suggests that your inner posture is more open than you realize, and that your unspoken tension comes from sensing change is possible, even if you haven't decided whether to invite it in. You're not ready to abandon your responsibilities, but you are ready to see what else might be waiting for you beyond your current horizon. That willingness, however tentative, is the heartbeat of your week. It's this internal openness, this quiet itch for something more, that gives shape to your path in the days ahead. The impulses and curiosities you feel are not random. They are guiding you to notice the spaces in your life where celebration, rest, or connection have been missing. Your restlessness doesn't just stay inside. It begins to shape how you respond to invitations, how you show up in conversations, how you approach the tasks that used to feel routine. The longing for something new stirs you to pay closer attention to what actually brings you satisfaction and what feels stale. That awareness is the first step toward change, even if the next steps aren't entirely clear yet. It's like you're standing just outside a doorway, sensing that on the other side is a room filled with something you need, a gathering, a homecoming, a sense of belonging you haven't fully claimed. The path before you is being shaped by your willingness to notice and respond to these subtle signals from within. As the week unfolds, the Four of Wands emerges as the landscape you move through, one filled with invitations, thresholds, and the promise of shared moments. There may be actual events, gatherings, reunions, or moments of recognition from others that make you pause and take stock. You might feel the pressure to show up, to participate, to mark a milestone you've been working toward for some time. These external moments carry their own kind of friction. On one hand, there's the momentum of routines, the familiar pressure to keep things running smoothly, to deliver on what's expected of you. On the other, there's a tug toward joy, toward pausing and acknowledging how far you've come, or allowing yourself to be fully present in a moment of connection. The tension comes from balancing the comfort of the known with the urge to step into something just a bit more alive. You may notice that the world around you asks for your presence in subtle but persistent ways. A friend reaches out. A colleague invites you to collaborate. Family or community moments pop up, calling you to share in something bigger than yourself. Each of these moments is a test of sorts, not of your ability to perform, but of your willingness to participate. The pressure isn't about perfection, it's about letting yourself be seen, letting yourself belong. This can bring up its own kind of vulnerability, especially if you're used to keeping your guard up. There's also friction in deciding what matters most. The familiar rhythm of your days might clash with the desire for something more, asking you to choose where your energy goes. It's in these choices, whether to stay hidden or step forward, to keep routines tight or make space for celebration, that your path is shaped this week. The choices you make in response to these pressures are not automatic. They depend on how honestly you meet your own longing for change. If you move through the week on autopilot, the invitations and opportunities may pass quietly by, leaving you with that same unsettled feeling. But if you pause, if you allow yourself to notice where you're being called to show up more fully, the potential for something new becomes real. Your growth isn't forced upon you. It's invited by the way you listen to your own needs and respond to the world around you. The transformation at stake isn't about grand gestures, but about a subtle, conscious engagement with the moments that matter. The potential for change exists only when you choose to open the door, even just a crack, to what's possible. When you let yourself meet the week with that kind of openness, the card of death quietly makes its presence known. This isn't about endings you cannot control, but about the natural closing of a chapter you've already outgrown. The invitation is to allow something to complete itself so that you can experience renewal, not because you're forced to, but because you sense you're ready. There's a gentle release at play here, a letting go of the patterns or roles that no longer fit. The transformation available to you isn't loud or dramatic. It's the subtle shift that happens when you recognize you're no longer willing to carry what's become too heavy. The growth here is about trust, trusting your own instincts, trusting that what you let go of creates space for something more honest to take root. You may not know exactly what comes next. That's part of the invitation. The end of an old way of being opens the way for new experiences, new connections, and new forms of meaning. The card of death marks this not as a loss, but as a turning point, a quiet, deeply personal moment when you acknowledge that you're ready to grow. Your potential this week is found in your willingness to meet yourself honestly, to allow change to happen at its own pace, and to honor both what's ending and what's just beginning. The process is gentle, unfolding as you make space for it, breath by breath. Growth in this sense is not a destination. It's the natural result of living truthfully with yourself. Looking back over these three cards, a story emerges, one that moves from restless curiosity through the challenge of showing up to the gentle surrender of old ways. Your week begins with a question: what if you allowed yourself to want something different? The Page of Wands whispers that it's okay to be curious, to feel uncertain, to let yourself be inspired. The Four of Wands reminds you that you don't have to do it alone, that celebration and connection are part of the journey. And Death, far from being an omen, offers the reassurance that change doesn't have to be frightening when it comes from within. Each card builds on the last, guiding you from an inner spark to a shared experience, and finally to a quiet release. There's no rush, no pressure to reinvent yourself overnight. Instead, there's a gentle unfolding, a recognition that you're allowed to outgrow old stories, and that you can choose what to carry forward. No matter how the week unfolds, you remain anchored in your ability to listen to yourself, to honor what you need, and to trust that change, when met calmly, brings its own kind of peace. Actionable insights for Aquarius this week. In a week colored by both anticipation and uncertainty, it might help to remember that small shifts can bring relief. You could try letting one conversation go a little deeper than usual. You might step outside for a moment when tension builds, just to notice your breath. You can allow yourself to celebrate even a quiet success, no matter how small. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I am here in the middle of my own life. My curiosity is worth following. I make space for what matters to me. Each day I grow more at home in myself. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.